Welcome back, everybody, to the Fantasy Football Bros podcast. It's your boy,
All I do is win, no matter what.
Chaz, and we are here for a very, very. You know what? Let's
All I do is win.
let it go for a minute, because this is our 100th episode, boys. Come on, everybody, ready? No, I'm the only one. What the hell? We are here to celebrate our what did I just say?
Chaz is drunk.
Yep. We're here to celebrate our 100th episode, boys. It's been a long time. It's been a while. 100 episodes of the Fantasy Football Bros. You guys have been on most of them. I've been on all of them because I am.
Somebody had to be.
So yeah, we're gonna get a lot of the old school drops here, but we got the old school, the original crew here. We got the no nickname, no nonsense.
Sir. What's up?
And of course,
The new fantasy season is upon us, boys.
we got the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. J. Coleman. What's up, dog?
What's going on, boys?
And not here, who was a staple in the original show, is
Pickles on my pickles.
because ever since I got the new cat, all Pickles does is hide. So like she just does not come and hang out with me anymore because she's a little brat. So it is what it is. So we are here for our 100th extravaganza, and there is not a lot to talk about news-wise. Just a tittle bit. A lot of releases, a lot of starters named. We aforementioned Mr.
Unlimited
is the starter in Pittsburgh, and I think everybody saw that coming.
Yep, sure did.
Yeah, I don't think there was any doubt that Russell Wilson wasn't going to be the starter. They don't pay that salary. Well, the Broncos are paying it, but
Broncos are paying it, right?
still.
But he's just-
The Steelers want whole $1 million.
It's just obvious he's the better option. I mean, Justin Fields, fantasy-wise, all day, but they're trying to win games, so
Yeah.
he's the better option.
They don't care about your fantasy team in the end.
No.
Who was probably the biggest couple of releases? I would say Kadarius Toney being released and Tim Patrick.
Yeah, I think Tim Patrick I could have saw either way, but Kadarius Toney is a big one for me because Chiefs. But
He's such a talent.
Yeah,
But he
guy.
wasn't-
He's not good, though.
No,
Right.
I mean, he is. He's just never on the field.
Well, he hasn't been good is the problem. They
Yeah.
had all these high hopes for him, and nothing ever came of it. So
Such a
time to
talented
move
guy.
on.
He just seems like a baby too. So,
He ain't that talented if he can't make the Chiefs or anywhere else.
you guys are going to be hearing a lot of our old school drops throughout the thing. So since we're talking about the Chiefs,
Kermit the Frog here.
just make
Frog here.
sure that is there. I also realized that the Buffalo Bills released Shorter. I was surprised by that. Not even on the practice squad. What about that?
And then who's the other one that everybody was really surprised at? Shavers or whatever.
Yeah,
Well, he went
Travers.
to the practice squad, but
Yeah.
Shorter didn't.
Yeah.
No, I didn't
KJ
even know.
Hamler.
Hamler went to the practice squad, but
Yeah.
Shorter didn't. I was surprised by that. Guy was a rookie last year, didn't do much, and they got rid of him. But
I mean, he was also hurt.
and they released Gable Steveson, which whatever, Olympic gold medalist. Tisk couldn't make it.
My
Can't make it. Can't make it in the
Oh, yeah.
WWE. Can't make it in the NFL.
He had a moment in the WWE, but that's
Yeah.
Gable Steveson. I never thought he was going to make it, but
I reformed this bumble.
Don't even know who he is. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Gable Steveson, who won the Olympic gold medal in wrestling
Oh,
about
cool.
10 years ago. And then he tried out for WWE and was kind of all right. And then he tried out for the Bills. So, but he's a great wrestler. He's Olympic gold medal, but he ain't no Kurt Angle.
Cool.
So we are here for our very, very, very favorite episode of the year. So, guys, this is to you 100 episodes. So let's get one up for you guys on that one. And then, what better way to celebrate it than our favorite episode of the year of the
Nah, bruh.
episode, right? It's time.
Sure.
And it's time for our Nah Bruh and our Mantasy Crushes and our sleeper picks. We maybe they followed the rules, maybe they didn't. We'll see. But we've got the what's your Mantasy Crush, Adam? What is a Mantasy Crush? Tell me.
Oh, well, let me tell you, Chaz. Your Mantasy Crush is the guy that you just have to have. He's basically your favorite fantasy player that always ends up on your roster for some other reason.
Or just this year in
or
general.
just in general, just a guy that you can't leave all your drafts without as your Mantasy Crush.
Very good way.
If you're in 5 leagues, you want him in all 5 leagues.
And he could be your first round pick. I mean, it's not like
you get incredibly upset when somebody else drafts him before you.
Yeah. And it could be your first round pick. It's not a sleeper. We all know what a sleeper is. We got sleepers for later. Jay, why don't you tell us what the
Nah, bruh.
is, even though we know it's kind of self-explanatory.
Yeah, the nah, brah, or fuck this guy. Basically,
As Jay would say.
Yes. Basically, it's any player that you are staying away from at all costs. Even if he's the best available when you're up to pick, you are going to skip that guy and get someone else because fuck that guy.
And now, now it could be still a good player, but you just don't lose the value.
Yeah,
Sure.
it could be. Yeah, he could be the best fantasy football rated player this year, and you're still like, nah.
Christian McCaffrey. So you could pick Christian McCaffrey as a nah, bro, because you think he's going to get hurt. He's had 2 years, and you're not going to take him first overall. And that's perfectly okay as a nah, bro, but that's not. Nobody is saying, as of now, we don't know yet, that Christian McCaffrey is their nah, bro. But it could be whatever. And as we said, we know what the sleeper is. The sleeper is a late round pick, 9, 10, and later, and
A guy that's dropping in drafts that you think is going to be better than his draft position.
Or he's getting drafted really late. I didn't call him as my sleeper last year, even though I should have, because you guys know I was all over Jordan Love. But I didn't pick Jordan Love as my sleeper last year. But Jordan Love, that's a definition of a sleeper last year, right? So that's exactly what we're looking for. So we're going to start out. Last year we started with some positivity, but you know what, boys?
Nah, bruh.
We're going to start off with a negativity. So here's another fun drop to get into the nah, bro, just because I thought of it. So
Instead of swing, Xavier goes down the middle. Slam dunk.
Get dunked on, bro.
we haven't done that in a while. So we're going to do, at least I'm going to do, I don't know about these guys, one from quarterback, running back, and wide receiver for our nah bras. Dave texted in his pick, but just one each. So why don't we start with me, I guess? We'll start with our nah bra quarterbacks, and I'll start with me here. And I mentioned it before, and I kind of prefaced it just a few minutes ago about how it doesn't mean this player is going to be trash necessarily. I don't think this player is going to be trash, but my
Nah, bruh.
is CJ Stroud, and it's simple for the fact that people are drafting him like 3rd or 4th at quarterback, and I'm never going to have him. He's never going to be on my team because I'm never drafting him that high. He had a great year last year. He finished like 12th. I don't think he's going to make that big jump. To make that big jump for somebody who's immobile like CJ Stroud, he's got to have 40, 45 touchdown passes. And could he? Sure, but that's tough to do. So without the running, even if he improves, he's going to improve up to like 8, 7. And people are drafting him at like 3 or 4. I've seen him in plenty of mocks and in real drafts go ahead of like Anthony Richardson and Lamar Jackson, and it's just absurd.
Joe Burrow.
Always. He's
Kyler
always drafted over those guys. So again, this isn't saying that CJ Stroud is going to finish like 15th, but where he's getting drafted,
Nah, bruh.
So what do you got, Adam?
I actually also have CJ Stroud. I can't stress enough on how good of a season he had last year. Okay.
And you're a fan. You're a fan.
I do like CJ Stroud. I think he's good. I think he had the talent. But sophomore year, man, it scares me for quarterbacks, especially if coming off a rookie year like he had. You're right. He finished 12th, I think you said, right? But for him to be drafted over some of these guys is just unbelievable. I know he gets Diggs. He's got Tank Dell coming back. He's got Nico Collins. He's got Joe Mixon, Dalton Schultz. He's got a lot of mouths to feed over there in Houston. And quite frankly, I think that might fuck with his psyche a little bit to figure out who he's got to throw the ball to.
Well, and don't forget.
And when he's got a little baby Stephon Diggs over there calling for the ball every other fucking play.
Steph, relax.
But for him to be just for him to be drafted, and it's so early, and we're talking like I've seen him go in the 2nd round, I've seen him go in the 3rd round. Like, first of all you people who draft quarterbacks in these early rounds, you're all psychopaths. But CJ Stroud is my nah brah this year. I'm with you on that one, Chaz. Dude, I can't get behind the sophomore season with all those mouths to feed over there in Houston. Do I think he could have a great season? Absolutely. Do I think he's going to? I think it'll probably be right around this. If he maintains it from last year, it'll probably be right around the same. I don't think he moves up to 7 or 8. I think maybe he might move up to 11 or 10 or 11.
I just think that's his ceiling.
I think that's where he's at. I think that's all he's got. And you're right. He would have to throw for like 4,500 yards and be in the MVP talk. But I don't think he makes it this year.
All right. So once
And
again,
I'm not drafting him that high. No
so
chance.
once again, CJ Stroud.
Nah, bruh.
All right, Jay. What about you? What's your quarterback?
This is going to be probably a shocker, but nah, brah, Justin Herbert.
Yeah, buddy. I knew you were going there. Tell us why, Jay.
I just don't think he's going to be that good this year. He's coming off another injury. He's got Harbaugh there. Harbaugh's going to want to run. Their receiving core is meh. So I just don't really see him being like top 5 like he was before.
Oh, absolutely.
So
I actually thought about Herbert here as well for my nah brah, simply for that fact. He lost Keenan Allen, lost Mike Williams. Not that he doesn't lose them during the season anyway, but he gets a new head coach in Harbaugh with Greg Roman coming in as the offensive coordinator, who is a very, very run-heavy offensive coordinator, which is why they brought in Gus Edwards. Not really worried about J.K. Dobbins seeing the field after play 5, but I have a feeling that they're going to be more reliant on the run this year than they are the pass. I know we thought the opposite kind of when Kellen Moore was there, but
And it was right for the first half of the season.
Absolutely, absolutely it was. But yeah, no, I agree with you, Jay. I like that one.
And
I had
his
him in
receiving
my
core this
consideration.
year went from Keenan
Joshua
Allen
Palmer.
and Mike Williams to Josh Palmer, DJ Shark, Lad McConkey, Quentin Johnson, and Will Dissly for your tight end. Like,
No, I do like their one tight end option. They did bring in Hayden Hurst. I think
they did, but he's listed as second right now. So
Yeah, I think he's a sneaky sleeper. But like
But
you're
Is it McConkey Vikings?
no, McConkey went to the Chargers.
yeah,
But don't forget they got
Okay, yeah, you're right. I'm
they
sorry,
got Quentin
I was thinking-
Johnston, the savior.
I'm an idiot.
yeah.
They got the savior,
Yeah.
QG. No, that's great. And like he's not even getting drafted high. I mean, I picked him in our fantasy football bros league as my backup. So like whatever. If he's
Like,
great.
I had a draft last night, and Herbert was taken as a backup in the last round.
Wow, last round. I mean, how the mighty have fallen. Like I just did my first ever dynasty draft with Saints Joe, and he went. Herbert was like he's still a young cat, right? Like, but like Herbert went like the 14th round. Like, you know what I mean? Like like nobody's on him, and that could be a great pick because 5 years from now he could be amazing again. But
Could be.
Right,
so-
but I don't think this year is going to be his year either.
Nope.
Like Jay said, the injury is going to linger, I think. The massive downgrade in receiving core that he has right now is just not going to help his cause.
Very, very good. So Justin Herbert the pervert.
Nah, bruh.
All right. So are you guys ready for your running backs and stuff too?
Yeah, I got one.
I did
Okay,
all
so-
3 positions.
So Adam, we will talk to you about who is your
Nah, bruh.
of running
Yeah,
back.
and I'm actually gonna mention Dave's pick here too because him and I had the same thought. Dave went with Devin Achane, and I also went with Devin Achane, where he's being drafted above a lot of these guys who are number 1 running backs in their respective, on their respective teams. Devin Achane is now a part of a massive committee. Still have Mostert there. The rookie that they drafted is really, really impressive. I can't remember his name.
yeah.
Is it right? Jade. Right. Okay. Yeah. I do think that they're just gonna have a 3-headed attack again. I'm not saying Devin Achane is a bad player. I think he's explosive. I think he showed it last year. But also to have Mostert steal all those touchdowns that he had last year definitely hurts his value. And he's being drafted over like Josh Jacobs and Rashad White and these guys who are workhorse running backs. It's just I don't see it panning out. I'm not drafting Achane over any of those guys. And I'm certainly not taking him in the first round. I'm certainly not taking him in the second round.
It's just the idea of Achane. He was fantastic in
Sure.
the few games he played.
No denying the fact that he was good last year.
And he's younger than Mostert. But
Sure.
I'm not going to disagree. I had the chance in Dave's league. We got Zags in the chat. I had the chance to draft him in Zags' league, and I skipped out over him. Reasoning being, I drafted somebody else instead. A and B, I also drafted Tyreek Hill, but it gave me enough pause. You know what I mean, to not take him. So because I didn't want Hill and Achane from the same team, but I thought about it and I didn't draft him. So yeah, I don't think so. That's that. It would be your nah brah and Jay's and Dave's nah brah. What is yours, Jay?
I'm going with Tony Pollard.
Okay, all right.
Okay, all right. I saw that one coming from a mile away.
What?
Tighten up. Let's go.
Tighten up, baby.
So
yeah, I just I mean, I don't think he was that great as Dallas's number one option last year. Like, he did okay, I guess, rushing wise. He had 1,000 yards, but other than that, it was kind of mediocre. And then I think with Spears behind him in Tennessee, I think Spears ends up taking the number one rollover at some point.
I think Spears is in front of him. I know it's not necessarily true, but I get what you're saying. Because I think Spears is the guy. Yeah, I do.
Yeah. I mean, right now, on paper, Pollard is still listed as the number one, but, I guess we'll find out.
They did pay him a lot, though. That's something.
Yeah.
That is something. But I never liked his talent anyway.
Yeah.
I was
same.
very vocal against.
I was never impressed by Tony Pollard ever, so, I mean.
There was a bit there that I remember people simping over him at the end of the 2022 season, which led him to be a first-round pick in 2023, which, But I never
disappointing 2023 season for sure.
I never saw it. He was I don't know if he was my nah brah last year, but he would have been. So mine, I'm gonna be honest with people. Like, I had a hard time with this nah brah. There's nobody I really hate this year with an invulsion. So but I mentioned this before. I don't think Rachaad White's a good running back. They drafted Bucky Irving pretty early. They're very similar backs. I don't know. I just find myself never drafting Rachaad White. I don't think he's talented. I don't think he's good. I don't trust Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield has had one good year before and then was crappy. So, if he regresses and Rachaad White isn't catching 80 passes, he's not going to be a round 2-3 pick worthy player. And I still think there's a chance that Bucky Irvin definitely cuts in, even takes over the number one role. And I don't love Bucky Irving necessarily either. But, I just don't think Rachaad White's a very good running back. He's a good pass catcher, and I don't know if that's going to continue to happen at the clip it did last year. It was pretty historic last year, and I just don't know if that's gonna claim. And I just have a feeling that everyone that's drafting him in, the second, third round, the second 2-3 turn, it's going to be disappointed with him at the end of the year. And it's not going to be me because I'm not going to have him. So... yeah, but I'm not sold on it. But yeah, that's what I got as my Rachaad White, and I know you guys are kind of not against me on that, but
I understand where you're absolutely coming from, because you're right. I don't think he's a very good running back, but in a PPR league, a back that catches passes, excuse me, if a back that catches passes, if he can sustain that, he's going to have some pretty solid numbers. I'm still drafting him over a lot of players. I'm not drafting him early either. I'm not taking Rachaad White in the first, second, third round, but that's where he's going in the third round usually.
yeah.
So you don't ever get a chance to draft him any later than that. But I mean, I don't hate it, and I agree with Jay on Pollard too. Very disappointing season when he had no choice but to be the workhorse back in Dallas and didn't really do anything. Now that they're going to try and come in with Pollard and Spears, I think I agree with Jay. Spears is going to take over that job in no time because they want Will Levis to throw the fucking football down the field. You don't bring in Calvin Ridley to pair with Nuke and bring in Tyler Boyd in a Brian Callahan offense. I see very limited touches for Pollard this year.
All right, nothing too controversial. So yet.
Yeah.
We'll
No,
see.
not yet.
We'll see. So Jay, who is your
Nah brah.
wide receiver?
Oh, boy. Here we go, boys. Stephon Diggs.
Wait,
Yeah.
what? Let us finish, Steph. Let us finish. You'll get yours. Steph, Let us finish. All right, sorry, Jay. That was rude of him. What's the problem?
Well, the problem besides like everyone thinking he's a diva, and whether he is or he isn't, I don't know at this point. It is what it is. It's more so the fact that you don't know where he's gonna be in this team. Like, there's a very real chance that he's wide receiver 3 in this, because they paid Nico a shit ton of money, so he's obviously going to be number 1. I guess you can make a case that Diggs is going to be number 2, but Tank Dell was such a fucking stud before he got hurt that he could very well be the number 2. So
and that
Diggs
was
is number 3.
And that was CJ's like guy. Like Tank Dell was like CJ's guy. It felt like.
CJ was feeding Tank before Tank got hurt. So, depending on like Tank's injury still, is it lingering or whatever, he might have a slow start. But there's a very real chance that I can see Diggs being wide receiver 3. Plus they got running back, tight end. So there's a lot of players to feed, like Adam said earlier at the beginning of the podcast. So I don't know. I'm just out on him. I'm not taking a chance. I would rather take another wide receiver where Diggs is going that I know is actually going to produce than a chance on Diggs.
I'm not going to lie. He was almost my nah, bro.
I have him written down, and I'm not going to talk about him because Jay just did, but I have another guy, too, that I wrote down. So,
so, like, I'm definitely with you on that one. But, but like you said, there's a chance he's their number 3. There's a chance he's their number 1. Who the fuck knows? It's just a scary prospect. But I'm going to lean on the side of, like, that production that's already happened with that quarterback and the connection that those two guys over Diggs, and that's where I'm going to go. So, my nah, brah. And it's a player that I actually really like, and I think he's super talented, and he's going to be much better than he's been in his career so far. But the price is absurd, and it's Drake London. I think Drake London is actually one of the most talented, like, young receivers in the NFL. I think he is a better wide receiver than Garrett Wilson. I said that the year he got drafted, and I'll stick to it. But, like, come on, like, he hasn't done it. I get it. He freed himself from Arthur Smith. But, like, you're going into the system now with Kirk Cousins. It's the Rams system coming over, which could be fantastic. We've seen Cousins. We've seen the Rams system with Cousins feed Justin Jefferson. But, like, I'm not ready to commit that Drake London is going to be, like, top of the second round, almost a 1-2 turn pick, and he's going to come and finish the wide receiver 8. I can't commit it. I can't do it. And I think he's so good. And if he does it, I will proudly wear the pie on my face because I've been tooting his horn for a few years. But, like, when I see him sitting on that board in round 2, I never even think for 1 second, like, I'm going to draft him. Nope, never, ever. So, like, I just can't. And I've talked about that pocket of receivers before, but he's the one that, like, sticks out like a sore thumb most to me. So, I'm sorry, Drake London, I love you, but
Nah, bruh.
So.
You can never be trusted when you grade talent on the Falcons wide receiving. Right. We've been listening to Pitts, now London, and you're 0-2 so far.
They got a great offense, and now they actually got hopefully an offensive system that works. So.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you there. London has just been very disappointing. I know he hasn't had great quarterback play, and they are bringing in Kirk Cousins, but I haven't seen it enough, and I know what Kirk Cousins is capable of, so I agree with you. I will love to see Drake London succeed this year, but
it'd be nice to see
hard
at
to
least
trust the
one
Falcons,
Falcon
man.
be successful.
Well, here's the thing.
I agree with the second round bullshit. Like, why is Drake London being drafted over Deebo Samuel and Mike Evans and some of these other guys, like, and Nico Collins for that matter? Like,
and that's where it is. And Jay just said it. Like, one of those. So, if Kirk comes and plays good, one of those guys is going to break out. The difference is that Drake London's going to the second round. Kyle Pitts is going to the 7th.
Yeah,
right.
You know what I mean? So it's like,
and that's where Pitts should be going. But London should also not be in the second.
That's
round.
what I mean. So that's why it's like, if Pitts breaks out and you got him the 7th, you're ecstatic. If Pitts doesn't break out and you got him the 7th, you're fine. If London breaks out in the second, you're like, cool. And if he doesn't in the second, you're just kicking yourself. So it's just like, I just can't make it. So
yeah, I agree.
So what you got?
This one's for Saints Joe. My NAH BRAH wide receiver, Chris Olave, man. Oh my God,
Bruh.
do I hate Saints offense this year? And as a guy who has Alvin Kamara on my team, I don't care how old that guy is. He is still their top producing, fantasy guy. He's gonna be their offense again. I don't think Derek Carr is very good. I don't think their offense is very good. They have Olave, and who do they have after that? We're talking what Rashid Shaheed, or whatever his fucking name is, Rashid, whatever. Like, give me a break. Listen to this draft that I had last night. Okay, so your first round receivers, as expected: Tyreek Hill, CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson, Chase, Amon-Ra, Garrett Wilson. Okay, then you get into the second round here with Devontae Adams, A.J. Brown, Marvin Harrison, Puka Nacua. Sure, whatever. Maybe we can make an argument for Nacua. I know Chaz can. Drake London goes next at the end of the second round. Okay, then comes back. Debo's the next one. Chris Olave goes right after Debo. Before Mike Evans, before Ayuk, before Cooper Kupp. Fine, you can make an argument for Kupp. But before Nico Collins, before DJ Moore, who had an incredible season last year. Before Jalen Waddle and Devonta Smith. And like, these guys are going, like, Olave is before all these guys. And like, it's just mind blowing to me where Olave is going in an offense that is going to struggle again.
Yeah, he's in that pocket.
Yeah, he's in that pocket of receivers. It's like, man, you could have had all those guys, and you chose Chris Olave.
Yeah,
I'm
totally
sorry, I can't bring myself to do that, and I never will.
Your Saints starting wide receivers: Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, and A.T. Perry. I'm sure we all have him on our fucking list of wide receivers to draft.
Yeah, right. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, how are you going to sit there and look at the Saints office and go, oh, yeah, Derek Carr's got to throw it to somebody? Yeah, well, you can say that about every fucking quarterback in the league.
It's going to be Alvin Kamara and Taysom Hill.
Right. Well, exactly how it was last year.
Yeah.
And every year moving forward.
No arguments for me for any of those NAH BRAHs. I mean, sometimes we get razzy and get into arguments, but none of us there.
No.
I'm not arguing with any of those.
We're on point so far this year.
So far, so good.
All right. Well,
wait, hit me with the Olave drop, though.
Well, Chris Olave?
Nah, bruh.
Bang.
Nah, brah. All right, so we'll move on to our sleeper picks, and this one's always fun, and this one's always a great call if we can get it right at the end of the season. And I'm going to start because I have a feeling that some of you might agree with me, maybe not. But I'm going to tighten up and say Will Levis for the quarterback is the sleeper. I mean, Adam said it earlier, like, he's got a big arm. He's not that accurate, but whatever. He's got a big arm. They brought in Calvin Ridley. They still got Nuke. They got the pass-catching backs. Like, he led the league, I believe, in, like, passes thrown down the field last year. So they're just going to, like, let this kid go and throw it. And, you know, if he has a few big games and makes those connections with those two receivers, like, this guy could be this year's Jordan Love, where what I mean by that is he's the highest paid player in the league next year. No, what I mean by that is this guy will be drafted in the top, like, 6 quarterbacks next year. Like, this could be that guy, you know. He got a little bit of mobility, but that's just because he's young, but he's not, like, super immobile. So, like, my sleeper quarterback that I even put him on my that dynasty roster I just said. He's on my taxi squad because I think he could be something. So, yeah, Will Levis is for me. And I'm wondering if that's where Adam is going.
It sure is. I'm absolutely going with Will Levis as well. I think he's being slept on. You don't bring in Calvin Ridley to pair with, like I said it earlier, you paired him with Nuke, brought in Tyler Boyd, brand new head coach that came from an offense that threw the ball a lot. And I think it's just going to continue. And I really do think that Pollard's going to struggle. Spears will eat a little bit because he's more of a pass catching back, but they want to throw the ball down the field with Levis. They want to, they want to get Ridley involved. They want to get Hopkins involved more. They brought in Tyler Boyd, who's an excellent third receiver, and he was an excellent third receiver in Cincinnati. Great slot guy. They still have Treylon Burks, who, yes, he can't.
I forget about him always.
Does everybody else, and they had a really good, Westbrook Akine is not a bad receiver.
He can't stay on the field with that asthma.
Exactly. He has trouble staying on the field, but that's why I think they brought in Boyd for that reason, is because they know what they have in Burks already. Okay, I think Will Levis I got into an argument at work because we're all Titans fans, down here in Nashville.
Turn up.
Will Levis is going to lead the league in passing with like 4,700 yards. I'm like, I mean, he very well could. I don't see it happening, but I do see him throwing a lot more. And now that he's going to have a full season under his belt here. Yeah, we're looking for Will Levis to be the sleeper of the quarterbacks, and I agree. I think he can certainly work his way up draft boards.
I'll tell you, if what you just said, if that was like a good bet, like if there was like a good line on that, I would take that.
100%. If there was a bet that he would throw for I'm sure you could find one that he'll throw for 4,000 plus yards, right?
Let us know, Dave. Let us know.
I'm sure.
Let us know.
I'm sure there is a bet out there, but yeah, Will Levis, sleeper quarterback, man. Look out for him.
That's 2 for 2. What you got, Jay?
He was definitely on my list, but since you guys talked about him, I'm gonna go with Baker, and only for the fact like he had a really good season last year. He's got basically the same offense again this year, and where he's getting drafted, I think if he can repeat what he did last year, he's going to be very solid. Especially like if you waited and drafted a QB and you're kind of like on the fence, then you might want to pick up Baker because he's going so late, and he might surprise you if you're unsure about the first QB you selected. So that's where I'm thinking for sleeper for QB.
I definitely saw him getting even started last year towards the end of the season in some league.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely. So
I actually had him in my in the league that I drafted in yesterday. I'm pretty sure I had Baker on my team at one point. So I agree with that. I agree with Jay completely that they brought back the same offense. Like they got Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. Like they drafted who's their rookie? Tillman. I think it's Tillman, something like that. Big body outside.
McMillan.
Jalen McMillan.
Tillman.
Right?
Yeah, whatever it is. See, it shows how much I know my rookies, right?
I always liked
McMillan.
I've always liked Baker, but like as an NFL quarterback, I just don't fucking trust him. I get it. He's been in the league 6 years now. He's had 2 good seasons out of 6. So like, I know, like it's like he's got me hyped before. That dude won Rookie of the Year, and then was crap. So like I don't know. Like I like Baker. I wish he is good. I hope he is good, and he's a starter the rest of his career. You know what I mean? I really hope because I love the kid. I really do. But I just don't trust him. But I don't think he's a bad pick at all, Jay. So not at all. So Adam, let's talk about your sleeper running back.
Ooh, all right. And this is going to be a pretty crazy pull, but my sleeper running back this year is Trey Benson. Okay, rookie in Arizona. I can't trust James Conner to play a full season. Okay,
because he can't.
I don't think he has ever had a full season in the NFL. Okay, I expect Trey Benson to come in and be just fine in that offense. Now they drafted Marvin Harrison Jr. as well, and Kyler Murray's back full season. He's healthy. He looked good at the end of the season when he came back, and Trey McBride's there now too, so he's got passing options now. I'm looking for Trey Benson to be a sleeper this year. He might not start right away, and that's okay if you can get him late in drafts and just stash him there for a little bit, because the inevitable James Conner injury is coming, guys. I'm telling you right now, it is going to happen, and it's just a matter of time on when during the season that does happen.
That's a very good one, man. Like
he's been in the league 7 years, not a single full season.
Yeah, never.
Just like now.
Yeah, he never has, and I think it's a good. He's a rookie, give him time to get his legs under him, he was on my short list for sure. So I don't think that's a bad one. What do you got, Jay?
I got Jonathan Brooks, Carolina's running back, where he's getting drafted. Obviously, like he's going to be missing the first 4 weeks of the season, and he might have a slow start. But I think if towards the end of middle to the end of the season, I think he has potential to do pretty good. So if you stash him on your bench and get him late like he's been going, then could be a pretty solid option for the back half of the fantasy season.
I mean, he doesn't have a lot of hard people to beat out.
Right.
Yeah, that too.
No competition there.
And he's highly rated. He should have, they were talking about how he probably would have been like a first-round pick or something.
Right.
Well, he's coming off of the ACL
Yeah.
injury. And that's always scary for running backs. So, like,
Sure.
I mean, it's hard for me, and I like Jonathan Brooks. I have him. I think I have him in the Fantasy Football Bros League, but I'm scared of him coming off the ACL injury just because it takes a while. And I get these traumatic Miles Sanders vibes from him. And what I mean by that is, like, the player in general is way better. Jonathan Brooks is way better than Miles Sanders. But, like, Miles Sanders was Bijan Robinson's backup his whole career. Sorry, Miles Sanders was Saquon Barkley's backup his whole career. Jonathan Brooks was Bijan's backup their whole career. And then the next year, they're the starter. They do fairly well. They get drafted in the NFL. We've all seen what happened with Miles Sanders, who coincidentally is on the same team as Jonathan Brooks right now. But, like, so I'm a little, like, scared of that Miles Sanders treatment. You know, like, two of the best running back prospects ever. You were their backup. So everybody already seems to love you because of that system. And maybe I think Jonathan Brooks is a better running back than Miles Sanders, 100,000%. So, and I actually drafted Jonathan Brooks in that Dynasty League too.
Yeah,
But
I mean, yeah, a lot of analysis, had Brooks as like the most solid running back prospect in this year's draft.
Oh, definitely.
But for the ACL injury,
yeah,
so it's definitely, I think, a good sleeper if you can get him late where he's going and stash him on your bench for the first,
just
4,
that
5,
ACL
6
injury.
weeks.
That
Yeah,
ACL.
I mean, but Brees Hall came back just fine. He had a slow start, but
He did. No, you're right. That's a good comeback. I didn't. That slipped my mind. He did 100%. So not everybody is like Javonte Williams. He didn't really get cooking till the end of the season. So
yeah.
that's right. Good call on that one. All right. So did I do mine yet? Yes, I did. Right. No, I didn't. Right. What are we doing? We're doing running backs.
Running
Okay.
backs. Sleeper
Yeah.
running backs.
I got two. I already mentioned Bucky Irving, so that's a guy to keep on because like I said before, I just don't believe in Rashad White's talent, and I think Bucky could overtake. But the one I really want to talk about is someone we're all sleeping on. And I've liked this guy for a while. He's going to a team that's going to use him, going to a team with a defensive head coach that's going to be down in the game with a rookie quarterback, and he's going to sit there and catch 9,000 passes, and that's Antonio Gibson. This guy's going in, like, the last round of drafts, and, like, he is going – who are the receivers in New England? Like, there is a chance that Antonio Gibson is the number one receiver for Drake May and the New England Patriots. They've always handled a pass-catching running back, and I get it, it's a different coach, but it's the same coaching tree. Like, this guy was a Belichick player, and I just think he slept on it. Antonio Gibson, I'm not going to say he's going to have like an Austin Eckler type season, but maybe like Austin Eckler's last year type season. You know what I mean? Like, Eckler wasn't a first-round pick playing last year, but he was playable. He was flexible. I can honestly see by week 4, Antonio Gibson in people's flex spots easily.
I'm having PTSD right now. I bought in. You sold me on the Gibson hype train a couple of years ago, and it didn't pan out. So
This is his 5th year in the league, people, and this guy has had 2 top 12 finishes, and people act like he's trash. He's been in the league 4 years, and half of those years he finished as a top 12 running back. And now he's going to a system with a rookie quarterback who's going to dump it off 9,000 times. So, like, I love him in the late rounds. Love him.
I actually drafted him in the late rounds in my draft last night. I got him in the 13th.
Yeah, love him.
And
Well,
the
he's
only reason
definitely
why he wasn't lower is because I needed a defense and a kicker.
Yeah, so good. I've always liked him.
I like Gibson this year for that reason
He's
too.
always explosive. I don't know what happened over the last 2 years. The first 2 years he was a top 12 running back. Then they stopped using him. So I'm not saying he's going to get back to that form, but I could easily see him being a flex starter. So what do you got, Adam?
We already went with mine.
Yeah,
Trey
Adam already went.
Benson, remember?
So we went with the 3. Okay, so then we're going to start with Jay with the wide receivers. Who is your sleeper?
This one was kind of tough because I didn't really I don't have a wide receiver really on the list. I'm like, yeah, he's like going to be a sleeper pick. But I went with Neighbors for the solid fact that he got skipped so many rounds in Dave's draft, and he went so late for a starting wide receiver. Obviously, he's got a shit QB, but he's got to throw to someone, and there ain't any goddamn wide receivers on that team. So he's got to be the guy. So, I mean, if you're getting him super late, I mean, take a chance on a starting wide receiver for a team that you could potentially get in, like, I don't know, 4th, 5th round or whatever he's going now, because people are just skipping right by him. And, I mean, I get why people are skipping, but, I mean, might as well take a chance at that point.
Well, he's super underrated because of Marvin Harrison Jr. Like, this guy would easily be the best wide receiver in the class, hands down. It just so happens to be, like, the greatest wide receiver prospect almost ever is in this draft.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
I
that
mean,
came out. So
you got Marvin Harrison, which hurts him. You got the QB that hurts him. The team is kind of so that hurts him. So, I mean, there's a lot of factors working against him, but, I mean, he's the only real good option in New York. So, I mean,
I love him, and the reason I'm jumping in on you with you here is because I'm going to differ with you for a little bit. My pick isn't Neighbors. My pick is actually Wan'Dale Robinson. I found myself getting him in a lot of drafts. 2 years ago, his rookie season, he was carrying that team. Then he tore his ACL late in the year, took forever to come back, blah, blah, blah. But now, with Neighbors taking away some of the pressure and going deep, I think it's going to open the field for Wan'Dale Robinson in the middle of the field. He's a great slot guy. He's a great PPR guy. And I just think, like, I got him in every team so far, like, in double digits, late rounds. And, like, I really think he could be a very good PPR receiver. He could be this year's Tank Dell. Like, just drafted late, slot guy, kind of forgot about. And in a year plus off of the injury, your boy that you're speaking of, Neighbors, taking all that attention is only going to help him. So we got two Giants wide receivers. So
That's crazy. Not bad picks, though, but, I mean, I went in a completely different direction, sort of. I have 2 guys on my list here that I want to talk about, really. And the first one, for where he's being drafted, and I think a lot of people are sleeping on Christian Watson, simply because Jordan Love has a lot of mouths to feed, too, right? We saw Jaden Reed have a really good season. Wicks has had, flashes in the pan here. If Watson can stay healthy and stay on the field, I think he can really benefit. And I know he's getting drafted very, very late. Like, Reed is getting drafted over him. I saw Wicks go in front of him, even Romeo Dubs is the other one there. So for Watson going late, he could really be a sleeper for you and could be a wide receiver too. Like, I have him in I believe I have Christian Watson in the Fantasy Football Bros League as my wide receiver too. So I'm very high on Watson. He just has to stay on the field. The other guy that I want to talk about is Adonai Mitchell. And I am in love with Adonai Mitchell because he's got Michael Pittman on the other side. And with the injury to Josh Downs, we don't know how serious it is. With AR healthy, with JT healthy, they have a really good offense and a really good chance for AD Mitchell to be their wide receiver 2. And I think he can put up some wide receiver 2 numbers.
if he's not an asshole like all the pre-draft.
That's what they're saying. Yeah, I get that. But again, I mean, he is a talented wide receiver. He was the starter at Texas over Xavier Worthy.
He was, yeah.
Which the only reason why Worthy got drafted before him was because of his speed. But I think A.D. Mitchell is the better receiver overall, and I think he's going to have a really good season in Indy.
All right,
so those two guys are my sleepers.
And we'll get to Dave's two sleepers here. He picked tight end Evan Ingram, which I don't know if that's a sleeper, but he said he's getting drafted as tight end 8. He's a PPR monster. He's a great option if you wait at tight end. And I agree with that. And his other sleeper I think is very interesting. To add on to our Giants love here, he picked Devin Singletary. He's being drafted as running back 30 with no competition. Daboll loves him. Neighbors should eliminate the stacked boxes and will deliver above the ADP and finish as a consistent RB2 that's available outside of the top 24. And I couldn't agree more that he is very slept on.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely. I think Devin Singletary had a great year last year. He certainly outperformed Dameon Pierce, who is somehow still in the Texans rotation.
He's third. Cam Akers overtook him.
I know. It's crazy.
The ghost of Cam Akers.
Yes, that's a good pick for Day. I like that. I like those
Yeah,
two
that's a
picks
good
for
one.
him. So
More than half of the sleepers we picked, guys, were Giants. How about that?
that's pretty wild.
How about that, though? All right, well, let's get on to the big guy, our Mantasy Crushes. And I guess I'll start. I start at quarterback every time, so we'll keep going. I drafted this guy in 2 leagues so far. One as a starter, one as a backup. And it is, not surprisingly, Jaden Daniels. You're getting him at 11th, 12th, 10th, 13th quarterback. He can do everything running-wise that you're drafting Lamar Jackson at 4 or Anthony Richardson at 5 for. He's a better passer than Richardson already. So, like, he does, but I'm not saying he's going to finish as high as those guys. But, like, he's everything that you're drafting 4 and 5, Richardson and Lamar Jackson, you could get 5 rounds later with Jaden Daniels. And I know he's a rookie, but, like, he's going to get the run. He's going to get he's got a big arm. He's got Terry McLaurin. It's not like he's got nothing. He's got Austin Eckler. He's got I just got shot in the ass, Brian Robinson. Like it's not like he went to New England, which I think is in a way worse position. He's got decent option. He's the reigning Heisman Trophy winner. He's an electric runner. He's a pretty good passer, good weapons, and as like the last starting quarterback you're drafting, just given his running, he could run for 1,000 yards. There's 3 quarterbacks that could run for 1,000 yards. Lamar Jackson, Anthony Edwards, I almost said. We're not talking about basketball. Anthony Richardson, and Jaden Daniels could too. Sure, he could get hurt, but all those running quarterbacks could get hurt. So it is what it is, and if he gets hurt, you have to back him up, and I smartly backed him up in both leagues just because of that factor. So that's the guy that I'm going to bat for this year. I've decided this year I'm waiting on quarterback. I got him in 2 of the 3 drafts I've done so far, and I got a couple more to go, and we'll see what happens. I'm probably going to end up drafting Josh Allen in one of them just to have him, but I've made it a point this year to wait for quarterback. And I was saying earlier in the season that my goal was Caleb Williams, but it switched to Jaden Daniels. I had a chance to take Caleb Williams in all those drafts, and I took Jaden Daniels instead, just because of the wheels. So that's the guy I'm planting my flag on.
I like it.
So I don't think that's too surprising. It's probably surprising over Caleb, but
I knew it
Well,
was
I
going to be
think-
one
I
of those
think-
two
I-
guys for you. So
I think the thing with Caleb Williams is that people know he's good. Like I don't think he's really, a guy that like people want to wait on. Like Jane Daniels, he went to the Commanders, right? Like they just think Commanders. It's like, oh, they're just dog shit. Where Caleb Williams, we know he's a talent. We know he's got wide receivers. They brought in a bunch of weapons for him to make it his offense to help him succeed. So Caleb Williams is really kind of getting drafted right in the middle of drafts, which is kind of expected because you have all those other guys that go before him, and he is a rookie, so that factors in. Jaden Daniels is just. I think you're right. I think the Commanders are being slept on as a team as a whole. So I like that pick.
there's a guy that we shit on a lot in the NFL, and that would be
Hey there, little fella.
right. We always give that guy a hard time, right? He was drafted in 2019. Who was his head coach for 2019 and 2020? Do you guys know?
Was it Cliff?
That'd be
Yeah,
Cliff
yeah.
Kingsbury. Who is Jaden Daniels' offensive coordinator?
Cliff.
Cliff.
Cliff Kingsbury. Where did
Hey there, little fella.
finish on his rookie year in fantasy numbers for quarterback? Well, what do you think in his rookie year, 2019?
5.
He was top 5, right?
He was 7, right? So like,
Yeah, close.
but that's all right. That was his rookie year. He finished 7. Caleb or Jaden Daniels is a much better athlete and quarterback than hey there, little fella. But here's the big one that shocked me. 2020, his second year in the league with Cliff Kingsbury. Where did Kyler Murray finish?
I'm gonna go top 5 again.
Second.
Okay.
Kyler Murray was QB2 in 2020 under Cliff Kingsbury, only 15 points less than Josh Allen. I just think Jaden Daniels is a much better quarterback in general than Kyler Murray ever was. So, like, seeing that potential with that offense, I'm about it. So I'm very happy with that. So, Adam, who is your
Man, you already know. It's a guy who likes to wait on quarterbacks and is very happy with Matt Stafford as my QB1, okay? Guy threw for 3,900 yards last year. Missed 2 games. Very easily could have been over the 4,000-yard mark. His touchdowns were down a little bit. His interceptions were up a little bit. He went 24 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. But 3,900 yards is nothing to, bat an eyelash over. But he's my guy, man. Matt Stafford has always been so consistent in the league, regardless of the injury history. But now he gets a healthy Cooper Kupp back, who I know we shit on a little bit for being a little bit older. I know we shit on Puka Nacua for going so early in drafts after his rookie breakout season. You have Kyron Williams, who I know Chad shits on a lot, but in Sean McVay's offense, it runs through Cooper Kupp, and it always has. The reason why it didn't last year is because he didn't have him for most of the season. Puka Nacua was the guy, and they just let him run with it. Kyron Williams had a great season. I'm looking for Matt Stafford late, and I'm very happy for waiting on a quarterback, because anybody who drafts those guys super early is just missing out on other talent for their team. So give me Matt Stafford all day, and I'll say it until he retires.
Well, I mean, if Puka's gonna finish, if people are drafting Puka top 7 receiver and Cooper Kupp is top 12, I mean, Stafford's got to be good, right? Like, I don't think that's
absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad thing to say. So there's nothing wrong with that. We all saw that coming too. So.
Of course, yeah. I've been saying it for years.
That was yours last year. All right, what do you got, Jay? Who's your QB?
I'm going with Jordan Love.
Wait for it.
All you need is love.
Me and him had a love-hate thing going last season, but I think he's only going to get better this year. And I
nice pun, by the way. Love hate. I see what you did there.
You like that? And I think he's going a little bit lower than most people expect, because people are taking.
Then he should.
Yeah, people are taking other QBs that I would definitely not take before him. So I think, like, if you're someone that's gonna, obviously, if you're gonna not take a QB in the first 2 rounds, but you're not gonna wait till 10, then you have a very good chance of getting Jordan Love. And you probably should. So that's who my crush is this year.
I said it before that this guy could finish QB1. Yeah. And don't be surprised when we do our picks. By the way, next week is our official pick episode. If I pick Jordan Love to be NFL MVP, I would not be surprised. I think the guy's amazing. Dave's Mantasy Crush is a quarterback, so I'll put him in here now. It would be, not surprising, Anthony Richardson. He says, Anthony Richardson's my Mantasy Crush. No surprise there. Points per game last year was insane. Mobile quarterback, healthy. JT, addition of Adonai Mitchell. Josh Downs is not out as long as expected. Drafted as QB5 in the 5th round with QB1 potential. And that is very true. And I believe he was my Mantasy Crush last. No, it was Herbert, but I love him too. So nothing wrong with that. So we'll move on to running backs. We'll start with you, Adam.
Man, you already know this is coming. Josh Jacobs, give me my boy. Guy goes from one workhorse team to another.
Do you just want me to take your take from last year and just press play?
Yeah, you can absolutely do that. Because you already know who's coming for wide receiver too. Give me some Josh Jacobs, man. A.J. Dillon back, IR out for the season. Josh Jacobs has no competition back there, dude. Jordan Love's got all his receivers, and now he's got a better running back in Josh Jacobs over Aaron Jones.
Why did you like Swallow?
I'll say that all day long. Yeah. Give me some Josh Jacobs, man. And Green Bay's got a really, really nice offense that I like watching. Looking forward to seeing Josh Jacobs thrive in Green Bay.
We're all Double J fans here.
Yep.
You're going to hear argument from us. Love the guy. Love him. All right, Jay, what's yours?
Well, I'm not going to be as predictable as Adam, so I'm not going with Kyren, even though he's
I have him on my list too, but I didn't want to talk about him.
Yeah, you scumbag. Just read. Adam just literally looked in his notebook for last year's picks, and he's like, all right, I'm good. This is what I'm doing.
it's just there for the taking. Like you
Yeah.
can't deny it. You know,
You're
I
not
love
wrong. I'm gonna steal Chaz's for the
Don't
running
do
back,
it.
and it's gonna be Quan. I mean,
No, that's okay. You can have it because I have somebody else.
He's
Go ahead.
going to Philly this year behind that O line. I mean, this could be a very monstrous year for Quan. So
That offensive line, yeah, they lost Jason Kelsey. It's going to hurt the tush push more than anything. All the other fucking guys are still great.
yeah,
I mean, they still got Lane Johnson, and they're fine. He's never had an offensive line like this. He's never had a quarterback like this. He's never had receivers like this. He's never had an offensive head coach like this. Like,
yeah. He could be RB1 by a mile this year if everything goes as it should on paper.
what would hinder that other than injury with him is Jalen Hurts in the running. But
Yeah.
you know, that's the part of the game. So figure I love him. He is easily number one running back potential. You were completely right. I love it. I'm so excited to see him this year. I haven't even gotten to draft him yet, but I'm so excited to watch him this year.
I like it.
Love it. So I actually didn't pick him. And I didn't pick Bijan because the one that I find myself ending up with the most, because I can't get those guys because they're flying early. The one that I find up ending myself up with the most is the guy that's getting underdrafted because the team is changing, and I've said this before, and it's going to be James Cook. The Bills team is not going to be Josh Allen. Fuck it, Diggs is down there somewhere anymore. Look how it changed at the end of last year. They are going to be a very run-heavy offense, and James Cook and Ray Davis, but mostly James Cook, is going to drive this offense. He already catches a bunch of passes, not a bunch, but he catches passes from Josh. His touchdown regression has to happen. He doesn't get a lot of touchdowns. Josh ends up getting them, or fucking Gabe Davis was fucking getting them, or Dawson fucking Knox is getting them. Like, it's got to come back around for him to get him at some point. Like, you can't just be that good of a running back on that good of an offense and get 2 fucking touchdowns every year. I cannot see that continuing. So if those numbers go up, if he's getting 7 touchdowns at the production rate that he was getting used last year, plus how his catches have been increasing, this is an easy top 12 running back to me with the possibility of being in your top 5. And I've tied myself to him all offseason, and I'm really confident in him. I really am. And I mentioned earlier that when I had the chance to take Devin Achane, I took James Cook instead. Even though in my rankings I have Achane 1 spot higher, I started that team with Tyreek Hill. I decided to go with Cook to not have 2 people on the same team to start my draft. And I don't regret it. I mean, they're that close to me anyway in my head. So, James Cook all day. That's
We all know Cook is electric, and I've watched him every week live from the stadium, and he is such a smooth, like, flawless runner. But the biggest thing that hurts him is our O-line is garbage almost every fucking year. So, I mean, that's kind of if, like, our offensive line can be somewhat solid this year, I think he could definitely be as good as you're saying he's going to be.
I literally would be surprised if he's not a top 12 running back. I would be surprised.
Yeah,
I really would.
same.
So, all right, we'll move on to our wide receivers, and we'll start with you, Big J. What you got?
This probably is you could see this one coming. This is probably I'm going to take an Adam moment here, and it's going to be Michael Pittman.
Okay.
Dude was a stud last year without AR for most of the season. AR coming back. Hopefully he's healthy. You got to think he's going to be better. So, I mean, why not? He's a stud.
Yeah. I've always loved him, too. I knew that's where you were going. I've always loved him, too.
I like it. I like Pittman a lot. Yeah, I do. I liked him when he, didn't have Anthony Richardson. Now that he's got Anthony Richardson, hopefully he can stay healthy. Yeah, I like Michael Pittman to a lot this year.
Well, Adam, why don't you tell us about Mike Evans?
Hey, guys, what do you know? My Mantasy Crush for wide receivers is Mike Evans. And here's the reason why. He's so consistent. He's a big dude. He's a big body. He's got a very, very large catch radius. I mean, he's going for 11 or 12, I think it is, 1,000-yard seasons in a row. He's a safety blanket for Baker, and as much as we don't trust Baker at times, I can trust Mike Evans to bail out his quarterback every now and again. Give me Mike Evans all day long, please.
Yeah,
literally.
and I mean it's the same offense as last year, so he's got to be
Same
at
exact
least
offense,
just as good. So I mean,
Yep, exactly, and I'm okay with that. Give me Mike Evans. I'll
right.
take all three of my Mantasy Crushes from last year and go home.
It's very fair. My Mantasy Crush, and like it's a little weird because this is easily a first round pick, but I actually
Puka
see this,
Nacua. It's okay. We know it's Puka.
I've seen this guy fall to the second, and just like for some reason, like I just don't understand how this guy's falling off in drafts, and it's Jamar Chase. Why? Why are we giving up on Jamar Chase where he's falling towards the end of the first round now? Like. We give up on Justin Jefferson because he lost Kirk Cousins. Okay, I can see why he fell down a little bit. He's gaining Joe Burrow. Like, I mean, he's going. I mean, I had him as my number 1 overall player last year. That's how much I think this kid is talented. He is the best receiver in the NFL, I think, talent-wise. And if you look at the top 5 wide receivers, however you want to say them, Hill, Lamb, Double J, Chase, A.J. Brown. Say those are the best 5 receivers. He has the best quarterback of all those guys. So for like some reason, people are like thinking, oh, Joe Burrow was hurt last year and Jamar Chase was still pretty goddamn good without him, but we're going to drop him in our ratings. Like, you're insane if you do that. If you're going to take A.J. Brown instead of Jamar Chase, join my league. Please join my league. I want you in every league that I'm in if you're going to do something like that. If you're going to take Puka Nacua over Jamar Chase, I will pay your way into my league. Please come into my league. If you're going to take Marvin Harrison over Jamar Chase, I will kick Adam out of this league, and you can join this league. Like, please.
You can't kick out the champ, dude. That was uncalled.
What if you take Drake London over Jamar Chase?
I mean, I'll give you the first overall pick. But like seriously, like I haven't seen Chase go like say behind London or anything like that. But I don't even know about Harrison, but I've seen Nacua go above him, and I've seen AJ Brown go above him, and that is just out of fucking bounds insanity to me. It's recency bias, even though Jamar Chase missed 4 games, didn't have Joe Burrow, and still finished, I believe, as wide receiver 12 last year. Jay, I can double check on that. So like, I don't know. Like, there's just something about him where he's landed. He finished at wide receiver 13. He missed a couple of games. Joe Burrow missed all the games. That's what it was. And he still finished as 13 with missing a game. So I just can't. He's going to have a big. He's proven that he can do it without Joe Burrow. All these other guys don't have. You're more confident in Amon-Ra St. Brown, which is great. He's a great fucking the PPR receiver. But you're more confident in him with Jared Goff than Jamar Chase with Joe Burrow. Like that, I just can't. Like those two, I have back to back. You know, and St. Brown is worth it. So I don't know why I'm arguing against St. Brown. But like, just say Nacua. Like it doesn't make sense to me. It's recency bias, and I love Jamar Chase.
Well, like we said too in our rankings, the wide receiver rankings are kind of fucking dog shit when it comes to where players are going in the rankings. So.
Yeah, I Chase was my number 2 wide receiver. The only reason I take Hill over him is just because of the explosion, and that's it. That's the only reason. And I could kick myself. I took Hill over Chase in Dave's league, and it wasn't easy. It wasn't an easy pick because I really like Chase. But yeah, so Chase I've ended up with a lot, and that's my guy. So I think he's the best wide receiver in the NFL. So there you have it, folks. There is our 100th episode and our NAH BRAHs and our Mantasy Crushes. So season starts. We have one more episode till the season starts, right? Or actually, the next episode comes out the day the season kicks off.
Yeah.
Thursday night football, baby.
Yeah, next week.
Chiefs, and I can't remember who it is, but I know it's the Chiefs.
Well, make sure you guys tune in next week for our official prediction episode where we're going to pick division winners, Super Bowl champ, NFL MVPs, Rookie of the Years, and then just have some random player debates and things like that, which I did fairly well on last year. So we'll see if someone's coming for that crown this year. So thank you guys for 2 years and 100 episodes, man. I appreciate y'all.
Yeah. Appreciate you.
Dude, that's crazy, man. Episode 100. Episode 100, and Dave's not here to enjoy it with us.
Yeah, because he's sitting by his pool.
Because he's
Yeah.
He's sitting by his pool thinking that his setup is trash.
Looking at pictures of his BMW.
Well, we Dave is a member of the crew. We've had John on a few times. We've had Chad on. You know, Saints Joe is a contributor. Saints Joe, it's funny in that Dynasty League we did. I was looking at it was on Sleeper, and you can change the players' names to their nicknames, and he puts like the nicknames we have. Like he's got Kyler Murray, and his name is a little fella.
That's awesome.
Stuff like that. So shout out to Saints Joe for that. But I want to thank you guys for being a part of this 2-year, 100-episode run. And I want to thank everyone at home for checking it out, because if it was just us three listening to it, I would have quit a long time ago. So I know, like we keep trying to get we're trying harder to get the Facebook the YouTube numbers up, but you know what? We're not with the YouTube numbers. Whatever, it's up on YouTube if you like it, but we get a lot of listeners on the podcast platforms, and that's how we started in general. Nobody wants to see our ugly mugs anyway.
That's true.
So.
True.
So thank you very much, guys. Thank you for 2 years. Thank you for 100 episodes of the Fantasy Football Bros podcast. And we love you, and we'll see you next week. And
Later, guys.
See you, boys.